Okay, chat. Let us get started with this because like I said, I did want to see this and I've kept forgetting about it. So let us find out what Brandon thinks of the new ATF director. I'm very curious about his thoughts as someone who people wanted to be the ATF director. Obviously, he did not become it, but let's see what he thinks about it. What are his thoughts? Because I'm gonna be honestly. Oh, does it? I thought Macross came out before Gundam did. I don't know much about either of them, but I always thought that Macross came out first. Okay, so now I have no idea who even the new ATF director is, because obviously I have not been following news. You guys know I don't really do news much. So I have no idea who even the new ATF director is or anything about him. So, Brandon, kindly educate me.
What's going on, guys? It's official. The new director of the ATF has been selected by Trump, and I am very, very excited that I'm now able to talk about it. Also, sorry it's been a while since I've been able to get a video out to you guys. I've had some personal stuff going on, and I've been doing a lot of travel. But we'll talk about that in a sec. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first month of the new Trump administration is officially over, and with it, the president has signed so many orders, I'm surprised his pen hasn't caught fire. But with it, we've seen a whole host of cabinet picks be selected and now confirmed by the Senate, including RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services, Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, Pete Hegseth as the Defense Secretary, and Kash Patel as Director of the FBI. But all that's done is left the gun community in suspense, wondering who will Trump pick to be the next ATF director. Well, wait no more. Your answer is finally here. Drum roll, please. Your new director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is...
Yes?
Also Kash Patel. That's right, in a somewhat unprecedented move, President Trump has selected Kash Patel to not only be the director of the FBI, but also now the acting director of the ATF. It was just...
This is kind of sort of like what Brandon was talking about in the last video we saw about the ATF, about, you know, the ATF director, where he was saying that the FBI can do what the ATF is doing better than the ATF. They have more resources for it. So why not merge? I can't remember if he was saying, like, is he going to merge, like, if he suggested merging the two. This is kind of sort of step one to that, possibly. Like, I'm wondering if they are going to merge the two agencies, or actually not merge. That's actually an incorrect word. If the FBI is going to absorb the ATF into their agency. So basically, it'll be the FBI with an alcohol, tobacco, and firearms division. That's what I'm wondering. I could see the FBI absorbing in the ATF for, you know, for their particular tasks. Who placed this hat on my face? Chat, you're covering the moneymaker here. You're covering the moneymaker. What the hell? Get this hat off my face. God, this thing's gonna be sticking around a while now, too. Who did this? Who did this? I want answers. Who did it? TNG is not showing me who did it. Who did it? Fess up. Don't worry, I won't beat you. Hard. I don't even think there was a notification, a TNG notification for who did that. What the fuck? Tangio! What the hell? Oh, okay. Yeah, at least they didn't cover up these, chat, right? At least these didn't get covered up. So, I'm wondering if Brandon is going to bring up exactly what I was just saying. How could this be the first step for the FBI to absorb the ATF? I'm curious if he has that theory too.
Just made official a couple hours ago. In fact, the ATF has already updated the website. And if you know anything about Kash Patel, this should excite you a lot. Now, before I get into that, let me just address the elephant in the room. I know a lot of my viewers are probably disappointed that I didn't get the pick for that position. Without me even knowing about it, you guys went on RFK's website and got me, I think, more votes than any other cabinet position on his nominees for the People polls, which of course I appreciate. But I have spent the last couple of months talking to people who are on or adjacent to the transition team, and I knew I wasn't very likely to get the nod for, a while. But I don't care. I've got my dream job. The only thing I cared about was whoever's in that role be somebody that wants to rip that agency apart, limb for limb. And I think we might have our man. But before we move on from that, I do want to mention real quick that by selling those Brandon Herrera for ATF director shirts, we did manage to raise tens of thousands of dollars for no-kill animal shelters right here in San Antonio. So we'll be donating that shortly, as well as food and supplies. All thanks to you guys. So genuinely, thank you for that. We did some good. But now to the real
Alex,
exciting
that's
part.
the official
line.
line,
A lot of you guys probably don't really know who this Kash Patel guy really is. So let me introduce you to him. Kash, come on in. I'm fucking with you. I think the guy's got his hands full. He's a little busy right now. I can tell you that Kash was my dream pick for director of the FBI. And I also got the chance to speak at an event that he was also speaking at last year at Goals, the Gun Owners of America conference. That was the first time I really ever heard him speak. So let me just let you listen to his stance on gun laws and the Second Amendment.
It is TT? Okay, TT, make sure you don't go anywhere, okay? Finish the video first. Do not go anywhere, okay? Atanashi, make a note.
In his own words.
The counter mandate we have is the force of the founding fathers in the Second Amendment. That is more powerful than any regulation these entities can come up with. But if you let them continue to chip away at it, they will completely take it away from you forever.
Fucking pinch me. I'm pretty sure if our last ATF director said that combination of words together, he would have caught fire. Not to mention he didn't understand firearms, at all. The guy could have at least tried, by checking out sdi.edu down in the links in the description and the pinned comment, but he didn't. He was also just a piece of shit. Now, no matter what's going on in politics or the world...
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the former ATF director the one that couldn't even, load a firearm or couldn't, do basic disassembly of a firearm? TT Rain? You really? Are you being honest with me here? TT, I'm sorry, but this isn't 18 and up stream. I'm sorry, TT. I can't. As much as I'd love to have you here, this is an 18 plus stream. That's kind of a thing. I'm sorry. I appreciate you coming in, but hopefully I'll still be streaming in 5 years. I'm sorry. I appreciate you coming by, though. It's just for everybody's protection. Asnashi, if you would please. I'm sorry, TT.
World in general, your sources are everything. As someone who spent an entire political campaign having left-leaning sources slander or just flat out make stuff up about me, I can relate. That's why vetting your sources and understanding the biases of those sources is so important. That's one of the things that Ground News
my
can
stream
help
is an
with.
18 plus stream, and TT said that they were 13, so I had to,
which was just ruled by
unfortunately, remove them from the stream.
Just another example of another absolute
I didn't want to, but
but Ground News let you access
for everybody's safety.
Headlines
because
covering
this is an
it. It's
18
also
plus
interesting
stream.
because Ground News notes that less than 15% of those are from left-leaning sources.
I'm glad that they were honest about it,
this is a complete blind spot. It also lets lets you compare the headlines directly, which can be kind of interesting, because you have your far left-leaning sources that are saying it's a ban on handgun sales to teenagers, but on the right it specifies what it actually means, which is a federal ban on gun sales under 21.
No,
Ground news is how you can figure out that
I'll
bias for
probably
yourself.
leave it in.
And my viewers can save 40%
I will probably leave
off
it in
unlimited access by
because
scanning this QR code or going to
it's, you know, the raw stream.
ground.news/bh. Again, if you want to learn the bias behind your news sources, go to ground.news/bh. But back to Kash Patel. Aside from being based, he's got a great resume. I mean, he was a lawyer, member of the National Security Council, chief of staff to the Secretary of Defense, and more, but most importantly, a raging hate boner to the bureaucrats in the FBI. And I can only imagine, and I hope, that extends to the ATF as well. I mean, come on, how can a gun rights proponent not like this fucking guy?
That mandate that the Department of Justice created, that fiction that they created, has permeated through the DEA, the ATF, and so many other organizations to strip away your rights, little by little by little by little. And none of it is the law.
And if that wasn't enough good news for you this video, we also got an announcement that Dan Bongino was just selected as Deputy Director of the FBI under Kash. Now, Dan is a huge, outspoken gun guy. I mean, hell, literally today, at time of recording, he just went on a major rant about how the ATF keeping 4473s and business records from FFLs is illegal and unconstitutional.
Records should be expunged immediately.
Wait, okay. Federal background check system is abused and turned into a de facto registry. Ah. Who's on the ATF to explain videos of agents asking firearm owner for gun serial numbers? Oh. Oh, my. And he's talked about this before. Brandon, I'm pretty sure Brandon has talked about this, how the whole registry for gun owners and for firearms and everything is I believe I can't remember if he called it unconstitutional. He has talked about this before and how he very much dislikes this.
You passed the background check. There is no reason anybody should have to keep that. None. It is being used as a list.
All this sounds like a pretty good change in rhetoric from an agency that, for the last 4 years, has hated people like you and thought you're the enemy. So with Kash and Bongino running the show, I'm hoping to get some solid policy changes just in the next couple months. And granted, there's a lot of work on the back end that has to be done with this. I understand that. But from what I'm being told, the gun community's wish list is being taken into very serious consideration. So please, for the love of God, keep up the pressure and let your voices be heard. Leave a comment down below of your own personal wish list of things that you just think that this new ATF should be targeting first. But all in all, I think for the gun community, this is good news. I know everyone in the industry right now is just looking at Kash like,
we will watch your career with great interest.
Now circling back, as for my trip to DC, sorry if that was a little bit of a sneaky tease there in the beginning, but I couldn't help myself. But no, it was a very productive trip to both the White House and the Pentagon. The Pentagon trip was actually for the Unsubscribed podcast.
Yeah,
we were actually given permission
great.
to film a podcast in the production room of the Pentagon, which is insane
That was
to me, 'cause
awesome.
that's not really a place a lot of people are allowed to go. But on top of that, they let us interview a bunch of high-ranking folks, and all of this was thanks to Chief of the Army, Randy George, so we greatly appreciate that. It was a great time, and I'm really looking forward to that coming out, hopefully this weekend.
Speaking as someone who has been the victim of multiple violent crimes, I am a big advocate of the Second Amendment, as I desire the ability to defend myself. Especially since I have physical limitations.
Well, I mean, Ace, everybody supports being able to defend yourself. Like, that is a problem not only in the States, it's a problem in Canada too. And neither one nor the other is better. Like, I have heard on the Unsub podcast, I've heard them talking about how, like, in California, you are unable to defend yourself with a firearm unless you're literally backed into a corner in your own home and has literally no other choice but to do it. Like, if you are in your, like, so what the boys on the Unsub podcast were talking, I'm pretty sure this was Nick that was talking about it, that even if you are in your own home, castle doctrine doesn't apply in California. the same way in other states. Like in Castle Doctrine, California, only works if you are literally backed into a corner in one room with the bad guy in the doorway and you have nowhere to go, and that's when you can actually use your firearm against your attacker. If you are in one room and a burglar or robber is in another room, in California, you do not have the legal right to use that firearm on the intruder within your home. Yeah. Now, Canada is some of the same, where it's like, there's a very legitimate concern where if you defend yourself against an attacker or against a robber, you are going to get arrested, because we've seen some really stupid fucking arrests in Canada. So it's like, this is not like USA better than Canada or Canada better than USA in terms of self-defense. It's bad throughout North America, throughout the upper half of North America in and of itself. And unfortunately, this is like state by state. Yeah, Coyote, that's what I'm talking about. It is state by state. So, California has a one way, Texas obviously, Castle Doctrine is if someone steps foot on your property, if someone is intruding upon your property, pretty sure with Texas, Castle Doctrine says your property, your rules. So if someone is on your property and you don't want them to be there and they refuse to leave and they present a threat, game on. Doesn't matter if you're in one room and they're in the next. So it is very much state to state. But I don't know if it's province to province in Canada as well in terms of how people are treated in terms of self-defense. But, we have these issues throughout the upper half of North America. And by upper half, I'm not including Mexico because I know nothing about how they're functioning in terms of defending yourself in Mexico. I mean, my guess is they probably don't give a shit. But yeah, I was going to bring that up too. There are other states, I think you mean New York, not New England, although maybe it's also New England. But some states, you have no freedom to defend yourself. Like some states, if you defend yourself, you will basically be arrested and charged because you defended yourself. It's fucking crazy. And whoopsie. No, Canada does recognize self-defense. It's just, I think that maybe depending upon the place, you can defend yourself. Legally speaking, you can defend yourself. It's just how they try to play around with it, how maybe provinces or, certain RCMP districts or what have you try and do some interpretive bullshit perhaps. You can legally defend yourself. It's, I think, just depending where you live, the courts will fuck you up. Depending on where you live. So again, it's the same as with the US. It all depends. If you did, I've heard of cases where if you defend, I'm trying to remember where this was. I'm pretty sure it was Ontario. I do believe this case was in Ontario, where a robber broke into someone's house. The homeowner defended themselves. I do not recall if it was done fatally or non-fatally. And the homeowner got arrested and charged. And I believe convicted of defending themselves in their own home from a robber. I believe that was in Ontario, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I heard about this case. But yeah, it's basically fucked up. It's very fucked up. And again, it is not one country or the other. It's the upper half of North America, generally speaking as a whole, that is this fucking crazy. It's just, it all depends on where you live.
Now, on to the White House. I'm kind of in this weird place where I'm not really sure what...
Canino, your beef with Canada is the same beef in many states in the US. That's why I said it's not about one being better than the other. Both countries have these issues. So don't say that your beef with Canada is because of this, because the US does the same fucking thing. depending upon the state. Remember that.
Now, on to the White House. I'm kind of in this weird place where I'm not really sure what I am and what I'm not allowed to talk about, so I'll just keep this pretty brief. It was incredible to feel the energy of the meetings and the people that are just even in the hallways there. It's fucking electric, and everybody means business this time. Pretty much everybody I know within the administration has told me in one way or the other that term 1 Trump and term 2 Trump are radically different people. He's a new man, it's a little personal now, and he's got an axe to grind. And that's pretty fucking hype. And I think I can tell you this. If the team Trump has around him now can accomplish even a third of some of the things I've heard tossed around, this might be one of the most pro-Second Amendment administrations in the last century. There's a lot of damage to undo, but there's a lot of people there willing to do it.
Well, I think he willed it, Kaibo.
Politics, only time will tell. But I can't.
Brandon kind of willed it because he ran for Congress, so he is kind of all in terms of politics, because he tried to get into it himself. What he's saying in regard to politics, I'm not going to have any opinion on it one way or the other. I haven't followed any of it, so I'm not going to say that what is happening in the White House is good. I'm not saying it's bad, because I don't fucking know. And I'm not going to go spouting off, opinionating about something that I don't have a reasonable understanding of the circumstances right now.
I can tell you this. I came home with a lot more hope than I have felt in a long time. As an aside, too, it was also very funny to see ATF HQ tweeting today congratulations message to Kash Patel, saying they're looking forward to working with him, which really just feels like the Willem Dafoe meme, because I have a feeling a lot of people there are not very excited for the idea of Kash to be their boss. So what do you guys think about Kash Patel as the acting director pick? This one...
Okay. This is a fucking
So what do you...
This could be interpreted, this walk here could either be interpreted as the badass hero or the scary villain. And I'm not saying Kash Patel is either of those. I'm just saying that whoever made this shot, I'm not sure if they were going for the badass hero walk or the scary villain walk. 'Cause it could be either, honestly.
You guys think about Kash Patel as the acting director pick? This one did come out of left field for me a little bit when I found out about it.
Be a hero long enough to turn into the villain pirate? Huh?
The more hyped I am for the idea that, what I always said is you need to gut the parts of the ATF that make no sense, and then some of the legitimate stuff like the arson investigations, the cartel operations, like the real ones, not Fast and Furious bullshit. Take those and wrap them under the FBI and gut everything else. So I don't know if I'm looking too far into it, but seems like a pretty good start that the director of the FBI is now head of the ATF.
And I hope it happens.
Yeah, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys for staying subscribed. Appreciate you for sticking around, and especially sticking around to the end of this video. More content's coming soon. I promise not to leave you like that again. At least for a while. But unlike your dad, I come home with the cigarettes and milk. But I appreciate you guys for staying here with us. I appreciate you for staying subscribed. Also might want to check to make sure you're still subscribed, because, YouTube does that whole random unsubscribe thing that's really fucking annoying. But most of all, I appreciate you for staying all the way to the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next one. Thanks.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top.
Well, the answer is finally here. Drum roll, please. Your new director of the Bureau of Alcohol... Fuck me. God damn it. Whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Why is everyone so hyped? Chances are the ATF is gonna be the same as it has been 4 years from now. Cheer 100.
Well, Brevin, that is the ever-loving point. That is indeed something I think people that are happy about this are optimistic. But as with anything of this nature, time will tell. It's, we will literally just have to wait and see what happens. Because we don't know. And people are just happy. People are happy because of what Kash Patel has said publicly. And so people, especially pro-gun people, are very happy about what he has had to say. Now, whether or not it's basically like every public office is people can only go by what they say. It's when they actually get into the office in question, that's when it's crunch time to see if they follow through with what they've said. Many times there are disappointments, sometimes they follow through. It is a waiting game, and because of what he's said, people are optimistic. So that's why people are hyped, because of what he has said in the past in public speeches. We'll see. We'll see what occurs in the weeks, the months, and the years that follow. Because yeah, it's like I'm of the opinion anybody can say anything. Until you actually do it, you're just talking shit.